this video, we're going to take a look at the fake news media and all the propaganda that they've been pushing throughout this pandemic. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button to show your support for freedom of speech. And welcome to another edition of Project Natter. Joining me to discuss the fake news media is Martin Costello. 3, 2, 1, are we alive? Welcome back, Martin.
All right, David, how's it going?
Yeah, very well, mate. So we just want to take a look at the fake news, all the propaganda that's being pushed out since this pandemic has happened. We've seen the mainstream Marxists on steroids. They're coming out, they've been attacking the government and Boris left, right and centre. It's been absolutely astonishing. Real going for him, big time. We've just seen the likes of the BBC Panorama, using Labour activists, which were doctors and nurses, but just happened to be Labour activists, slagging off the government for their PPE provisions. We saw it with Sky News. They interviewed a nurse and a teacher who both turned out to be Labour activists and part of the far left extremist group Momentum. What do you make of it all?
Well, the left and Labour just could not get much lower than a snake's belly, really. I mean, you mentioned about the nurse. Apparently, she stooped so low, this Labour activist, that she even dragged her 8-year-old daughter into it, because apparently her daughter was, pleading tearfully that she did not want her mother to die, and apparently this broke her. I mean, the thing is, if this nurse actually put that fear into a child, then, that's tantamount to child abuse, if you ask me. Absolutely disgusting using her for those means. And then the teacher as well, though. Once again, even today, we saw the lefty teachers. Oh, no, we can't go back. We can't go back. You're sending us to the death camp or something, basically. I mean, for God's sake, get a grip. They probably have a lovely time in the weather out in the garden and what have you. And they don't want to go back to the classroom for one thing. And once again, they're using it conveniently to attack the government, aren't they? That's what it's really all about. They're being told what to do, and they're led like sheep. So, when they've got these things, oh, yeah, we've got lots of time on our hands at the moment. It's going to be easy to dupe them all. And they don't care, do they? They're all getting paid or whatever because they're key workers. Just the left, though, just using this for own means is disgusting. It really is.
Oh, this is artificial perceptions, because obviously these people are just pushing their political views. We've also seen, the likes of Adam Bolton from Sky News, the fat journalist. He put out a tweet basically saying that their political views didn't come into the matter because they were asking about their jobs. He didn't care how his doctor or his nurse votes. But that tweet just shows the ignorance and the arrogance of the journalists of today, because we've seen the likes of Labour councillor who's suspended because she said that Boris Johnson deserved to have coronavirus. We saw a Labour mayor. I think she was kicked out of the party for saying something similar along the line of, he deserved to have it. I think it was a councillor that said that it was propaganda. Basically, it was a publicity stunt that he was in there. I mean, it was sick people. This is from the
sick. And these are the same people that try to take moral high ground with you, though. Call you racist at every opportunity, all the rest of it. Or you're letting all these thousands of people die in hospital. They are absolutely disgusting. And they get off on all this, just to push their own political agenda. They are really, really nasty people, You try to have a sensible debate with some of them, and they always end up attacking you, calling you all sorts of names, trying to get under your skin and all that. You can't debate them. They've got their own agenda. They're extremists, and they've been all found out now.
Yeah, well, you bang on. There was the Labour MP who had a part-time job. So basically, she was working for like a care home, I believe, or something, if I remember rightly. And she was kicked out of that job. She was sacked because she went and said that basically the care home didn't have enough PPE, and it turns out that they did. They had a 3 month supply. So she was lying, obviously, to push her political agenda. This is the thing, isn't it? This fake news and disinformation. Now, for Adam Bolton to say it doesn't matter about their people, clearly it does, because we've seen councillors, mayors, MPs, and even the actress Miriam, whatever her name was, the fat bird out of Harry Potter. She was also saying that she wished that Boris Johnson had died, and she's a Labour member. She's a member of the Labour Vauxhall.
Yeah.
So this is so much hatred pushed by them. You'd think that the news would actually verify who these people are and do a little bit of a background check before they get them on.
But they just don't care, though, do they? They love to whip up all this division, to have stories and clickbait. They love all this sort of stuff. Our country's never been so divided at the moment. We've just had Brexit, which has caused a lot of division, and now we've got a pandemic apparently hitting our country. This is a time where we should all be coming together. It's a perfect opportunity, but the media are just using their agenda just to split everyone down again. They're not uniting this country. They're pulling it apart. They got so much to answer for.
Well, fake news isn't a new thing. Do you know what I mean? We've always had propaganda, rumours, conspiracy theories and whatnot. Some people think that, Tupac's still alive and, Elvis is still alive. And, the only difference now is we live in a digital age. So this sort of fake news can spread a lot faster than it used to, which is a concerning thing. So, we see like the Sky News, BBC using these Labour activists to push this their political agenda. It's a political broadcast, basically, isn't it? At the end of the day,
basically.
But we saw it with with Donald Trump. We saw the fake news there. The story started off with BuzzFeed, and then CNN called the Trump fake news story, and then they amplified it and they pushed this story. There was an FBI investigation that found out the whole thing was a load of rubbish.
Yeah, surprising.
The story, it done the damage. The story got out there and done the damage and did what it was intended to do. So there's a difference between disinformation and misinformation. People sometimes genuinely push out fake stories to cause harm. I know yourself, you've been a victim of disinformation.
I have many a time. I've had BBC Newsnight interview me before, and because I was obviously had nothing to hide, they weren't interested in broadcasting it. And then I had the local paper as well. A few years ago, obviously they saw me as a far right person, but basically they said here that I was sowing the seeds of hate because basically I made a statement saying that my town was turning into a third world slum because I saw what mass immigration had done in areas, and some parts being turned into shanty towns, basically. Not complete shanty towns, but it was starting to build, And I thought I was right to highlight this situation. But they used the media to pour this hate onto me, making out that I had a personal grudge with immigrants. And that was not the case at all, because I've always welcomed immigrants. I've always said mass, immigration's a bad thing, but just normal immigration is very positive. But they made it out. They used their power to stir up trouble and try and sell papers. And, of course, that put my life in risk as well. So, they just use you like that. And it's absolutely disgusting, the power they got. It's the sort of thing that is completely abused. And like you've mentioned before, if you don't like the media, then be the media.
Yeah. That's it. If you don't like the media, be the media. And the trouble is, like I was saying to you before, when you watch the news, you have to watch 4 or 5 different news channels, and then somewhere in the middle, you'll find the truth. I just want to run something past you, because this was an article that I found. So basically, this was a study that was released by University of Leeds. The study was the role of online media reporting on ISIS terrorist attacks in Europe, and it was the case of the BBC Online and the way that they were reporting. And basically, it comes down to a thing called the fault continuum theory, which is a theory based on crowds. So the theory basically talks about how you perceive stuff in the news media. So if you was to constantly see these attacks going on, there's going to change your perception.
Yeah.
And whatnot, and your thoughts, your ideas. So it's about how you think and how you feel reading the news media. So basically, the long and short of it was the BBC no longer report terrorist attacks, or Islamic extremist terrorist attacks, anyway, as terrorist attacks. They refer to them as incidents. And we've seen that time and time again, with mentally ill lone wolves. They used different buzzwords rather than, the standard truth. We're getting half truths from them. And the reason behind that, apparently, is so they're not amplifying, the cause or promoting these terrorist attacks, so they're not giving them the limelight. So in that sense, you can kind of understand that, Martin. But I just want to run something past you. So we saw recently with the terrorist attack that took place in Streatham, there was a news article from the Mail online, and there was a news article from the BBC covering the exact same story, which was this terrorist attack. Now, online, they said it was a terrorist attack. A terror attack had taken place. The terrorist had been shot dead after he'd stabbed 6 people. 2 people had died. The BBC said, man killed in incident in Streatham, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So if I was meeting you for a beer, and then that popped up on your phone, and you see, there was an incident, a man killed, you wouldn't be really alert. You'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'll that is when I get to the pub. But if you saw the Daily Mail, you'd be, wow, it's a terrorist attack. Alert. You'd be paying attention to your surroundings, what's going on. I mean, do you catch my drift here? You understand what I'm saying?
Well, absolutely. Because I'll say what, if you invite me for a pint, once, it'd be quite shocking at the moment. But, like I say, with the BBC, you think, oh, I wonder what that could have been about. It must have been an armed robbery or something. But then if I saw, like, on the Mail, there's a massive stabbings going on, then I would say, look, David, you're going to have to come to Swindon this time, because I am not going anywhere near there. But once again, it's these half-truths, isn't it? They always put out. By giving only half the story, they make people put their own conclusions together, and they know what they're going to do, like the way people you mentioned would behave in crowds. That's what they do. They just give you the basis, and they let you fill in all the rest rather than just giving you all the facts. And it's dangerous. We don't pay them to do that. They're paid to follow their charter, report the news. But, they're more interested in clicks and covering things up, as we know they have been. They can just wash stuff away. They've completely abused their power.
Well, I've had enough of the mainstream Marxists, as I call them, the MSM. I've started a website. It's called newsfromtheworld.net. So check that out. You can get your news from there. Please comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are with all this fake news and propaganda that we're seeing from our mainstream media. It's quite shocking. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and check Martin out on Facebook. Martin Costello's got his own page there. Thanks very much again for your time, Martin. Really appreciate it. No doubt we'll be speaking again soon.
We'll have that pint soon, hopefully. I'm thirsty.
Yeah, definitely. Take care, mate.